Welcome to Commander Comments. I'm your producer for the evening, Harrison, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy.
Thank you, Moose. We appreciate it. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. This is yet again, we're here telling you about the great things that's going on with the SCV. We've got so much going on at the national level, and I appreciate what you all do. Moose, you and Connor in the SCV chat, and look around the Confederation, letting everybody know what's going on in the camps and the divisions. It's our job here to give our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshers, an opportunity to tell everybody what's going on at the national level. Jason, Commander, what's going on at the national level?
Oh, there's nothing going on.
I know it's not.
No, you can forget this. All I can say, and let's start it this way. Welcome to Confederate History Month. This is the time for you to get out there and I hope you saw the pieces that come out on the Telegraph. One was the little statement that I made that, yes, we all do stuff, whether it's weekly, monthly. A lot of us do stuff very regular. To remember and honor all of our Confederate ancestors. But April is a Confederate History Month. If you say, I'm only going to do one thing a year, that's all I can do, this is the month to do it. This is the month to do whatever it's going to take for you to get out there and to remember and honor them. And I don't care what you do. Whether you go to a memorial service or you're hosting a memorial service, or you're, hosting a book signing. Maybe this is the one time a year you go to your camp meeting. This is the time to do it. And I don't care what it is, just have it. And if you have an event, you have a decoration day, you clean a cemetery. Take pictures of it. First of all, take pictures of it. Promote yourself. Put it out there on social media. Contact your newspaper. Get your newspaper out there and tell them what you're doing and promote what you're doing with them. And I've heard of them out there now. They're not doing this as Sons of Confederate Veterans. They're doing it by people that are concerned members of the community. And they see the cemeteries going bad, not being taken care of like they do, and they're stepping up and taking care of them. Promote it. Get out there and get ahead of it and promote it. And, this is the time for you to be able to do it. So, welcome to Confederate History Month. Now, are you proud, Mr. Kennedy, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you proud to be a descendant of a Confederate soldier?
I am very proud to be a descendant of a Confederate veteran, Private John Wesley Kennedy, 38th Mississippi Infantry. He ate rats at Vicksburg and was mad when they surrendered because we still got plenty of rats to eat and we got plenty of blue-coated rats to shoot. So, but nonetheless, he was in on the surrender. But yes, I am very proud. That's a heritage that I have, that I've passed on to my children and grandchildren. And that's something that we all should be very proud of. And it's our responsibility to carry on with that pride and pass it on to the next generation.
Oh, you are so right. And I think that people ought to be proud to be a descendant of a Confederate veteran. If you are, you should be proud of it. How about acting like it? Now, are you a Christian?
Well, yes, absolutely. And I hope when I face the Lord when I leave this world that my efforts on this journey will be acceptable to Him.
I hope the same thing. I hope that what I've done on this earth, that He will look at me and tell me, well done, and
good and
enter. And I believe at that moment that when I cross into that realm and go between those pearly gates, that I hope my ancestors there. And I believe, even though I've never seen him, never laid a picture on him, and never seen a picture, nothing.
Really?
I just know that I'm named after him. And I believe I will recognize him in an instant, and I want him to be as proud of me as I am of him. And just like I'm proud to be a Christian, we need to show that we're happy to be a Christian. And we need to show that we're happy to be descendants of Confederate soldiers. So how about let's act happy that we have both. And so getting this month started off, we've already started off with some bad weather. As everybody knows, the South's done been riddled. I know of 2 instances that we have had members that have taken hits. We had one in Arkansas, and we had a member in Tennessee down in Clifton. He took a direct hit. And him and his wife barely made it to the basement in time. They're both doing well. They had to get dug out. They got dug out, and they are doing well. But this is where the SCV Relief Fund comes in. And I don't know if you have the link to that, Moose, but if not, you can go to scv.org. You can go down to where the donation button is, hit that, and go to the SCV Relief Fund. This is Brothers Helping Brothers. You can submit if you have had damage by any of this. And I'm encouraging, there are division commanders and especially our brigade commanders, some of the most important people in the chain of this organization are our brigade commanders. Get out there and find out if you've had any members that have had any damage. And if they have, get in touch with the Relief Fund and submit a request to get relief from that. This is an opportunity, and I'm going to encourage people to donate to it, because this money that is in this relief fund just doesn't appear. People over time have donated to where we have the money in there. And it's not a great way to start off April, but we've had 2 lines of strong storms come through here in Tennessee. This is the first time, and I'm going to knock on wood, the last few storms that have come in, I've had to either replace shingles or sheet metal on the side of the house. But these last 2 I have been okay on. So I know what it's like to take a little bit of a hit, but nothing like what these gentlemen have, these families have been through. So, yes, sir, go ahead.
I was just wanting to say that, all of us who live on the coast, whether it's the Gulf or the Atlantic coast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida especially, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, you folks who endure these hurricane season, which is coming up, begins in June. Please make the donation and help these folks out who have gone through these tornadoes, because we all know that hurricane season is coming, and we'll be making some applications from people who, unfortunately, and I know it's happened here in Mandeville. I had one of my camp members about 3 years ago in a hurricane. We have so many, I've forgotten which one it was, but he had major damage, and the relief fund was certainly a help to him. I think he ended up using it to buy a generator, and which we all ran about a month on generators around here. So please, especially if you live in the hurricane area, remember these people up in the northern parts of your state that get these tornadoes come through. The good thing about hurricanes is we know they're coming and we can get out of the way. And if we don't, we deserve to paddle around in a canoe. But with a tornado, the warning is just not there like it is. And so let's get that funds up, and remember, we may ourselves, this is a selfish thing, we may be calling upon it ourselves.
Yes,
any of us can.
Oh yes, sir. And brigade commanders, camp commanders, army commanders, division commanders, get out there and check on your brothers. Check on them. You need to be checking on them anyway, to let them know you're thinking about them. But when you talk to them, find out there who's had any damage, and if anybody has, apply to the relief fund. And if you have a few extra dollars laying around, think about contributing to the relief fund. It's just another opportunity and a way for you to give, brother helping brother. Mr. Kennedy, you were at the AOT workshop down in Foley, were you?
Yes, I was. You and I and my not quite as good looking twin brother as I am, but we were all there among several. I think Carl Jones was there. We got some pictures, don't we? It was a great meeting. By the way, I wanted to compliment the Foley camp down there. They did a wonderful job, as they always do. It's one of my favorite places to go. Just great folks down there. We had a good meeting. Had folks from all over the Army of Tennessee there. Of course, Jimmy Hill was there and in all of his glory. So it was a great time, a great meeting. But let's look at some of those pictures that we got, Jace. There you go. Well, there's my nice, good-looking twin brother. Go. What's the next one? Let's just go through. Oh Lord, move that one on. You know, that's not there. Oh yeah, I forgot. Adam was there. Did a great job as always. This is the true training session when he goes through. And well worth the time.
Oh yes, Eric Pavady sitting down, taking a few minutes to show everybody how to work through Salesforce and the different forms and the different procedures. That's the whole point of this workshop. Is you will come to it and you'll start finding out what you need to do to help run your camps. That is the whole purpose of these.
Now, so Eric also does, is it monthly training sessions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can sign up for it. They're commander and adjutant training. He puts it out on the telegraph. You can sign up for it, and he will tell you everything you need to do as far as submitting dues, as recruiting and getting new members, how your adjutant can use Salesforce to be able to pay the dues online. And, you know, and he does it once a month, generally starts around 5 in the afternoon and lasts for an hour or so.
Yeah, it's 5 Central Time.
5 Central Time, yes.
Okay, thank you. And of course, Jimmy Hill.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that fella.
I don't know who that is.
Well, people said it was Carl Jones, but I don't know if that was Carl Jones or not. You know, so
Carl did a good job.
Yes, he did. He really did. I don't know who that person is right there, but I know he's struggling to catch his voice. This is the keynote
speaker. That's what everybody came to hear right here. Right?
Oh no! I was just to fill in till Kennedy got there. And they just had this nice little display. Yeah. And I thought I'd put them out there and promote them. They did a fantastic job. These workshops are critical to getting everybody together. They really are. Getting everybody together, do a little networking and learn what's working in other areas. And then just to learn, especially if you're a new camp, you're just now getting going. How do we recruit? How do we do whatever? It's a great way to do it. And let's see. Carl Jones says that he's hard to recognize and very hard to see. So yes, he is that. That's Carl for you. Now we'll have another one coming up, and it's Army of Trans-Mississippi. All I know is it's going to be August the 12th, and it's going to be out there in Texas. So give us some details.
And I believe that's going to be in Texarkana, I believe is where we're going to be meeting. I keep on wanting to say Spring Hill. I don't know why I keep on wanting to say Spring Hill, Louisiana, but it's in Texarkana. And of course, J.C. Hanna is going to be ramrodding that. And I'm looking forward to being there. I think Jason will be there. And I'm pretty sure my twin brother and several other folks, but we're going to do a training session. How to get our voices out into the general public, how to recruit, how to retain, as well as I'm sure Eric will be there. I'm hoping Eric will be there.
Yes.
He does a wonderful, magnificent job telling everybody this is where you go. He sets up his computer. With Wi-Fi, he can go online. And you got a question. He said, well, this is how you get to it. So if you're semi-computer illiterate like my twin brother, he'll walk you right through it. So even my twin brother can understand it.
Yes. But and he did. He was extremely informational, and it as far as recruitment and retention and getting your camp up and going. You had the great Kennedy twins there that were doing all of this. You had Carl Jones that was great motivational speaker. And then you had Eric Prevedi, who was actually the one that was dotting the I's and crossing the T's. You know, he was down to the specifics. He's not going to tell you how to get out and recruit and how to do all that. He's going to tell you, okay, if you're going to sit down and sign up a new member, this is what you're going to do. And this is how you step through it. Now, when it comes time to pay your dues, this is how you can step through and do that. You need to get a member transfer form. This is how you go to SCV, go to forms and documents, and get it downloaded. And he doesn't do it by just sitting there talking you through it. He pulls the computer up and shows you. So you actually get to step through all of this and you see it yourself. I know I'm my camp adjutant, and it is so much easier now. I just sit down and pay the dues. I pay them online through Salesforce. Doesn't take any time to do it. Most of the time I do it on Monday nights during dues season, so I can sit there and listen to SCV chat. And it's one of the things when SCV chat's playing, I'm over there paying camp dues. Everything that came in for the week, I'm sitting there paying camp dues. And this is, it makes the job easier for the adjutant. Now, the job is still what the job is, but it does make it easier. So
I've always said, when I was camp commander, then when I was division commander, I always said the adjutant is the most important person in the camp. It's, you know, you can have a dynamic, a charismatic camp commander, all these things, but the jot and tittle person, you know, the one that can dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure your paperwork is right. So when you go to have that new member sworn in, everything's done and it's not an embarrassment. So that's real important. Yeah, and I think he's also, when we're there, we talk about the friends of the SCV, how important that is, and how we can put these people in a holding pattern, get them signed up as a friend. If they don't have don't know their genealogy, we can get one of our camp genealogists or national genealogists to help them. And if they come out that, you know, they just don't have, but they're still interested, they can stay as a friend and still participate in camp meetings. They just can't vote and hold office and that type of thing. They're not official members, but they can still be friends. And I want to see the friends, especially as we talk about our national efforts, I want to see the friends grow more and more and more. I would like to have 3 or 4 times the number of friends as we have members, because the money's good. The support is what I'm looking for, the political clout. And that's another discussion. I've led you astray.
And the thing is, I want to have that discussion about the friends, because they're a massive untapped resource. And people think, well, they're not members, but we all know friends, people who are friends, or people that are associate members of your camp, or people that just help your camp out. Aren't they some of the most dedicated, hardworking people there? I mean, when you show up and, you know, let's say that, you know, you need to have a meal and a speaker. They're there cooking, you know, they're the ones that's always there doing it. And they're a massively untapped resource. And that's one of the things that was when you and I talked, and me and you and your brother talked about the scv.org website. If you go to it now, you'll see a lot of stuff across the top, and that Friends of the SCV is up there. And that is to encourage people based off what we're fixing to talk about next.
But before we talk about that, I just want to mention that we've done Army of Tennessee. We're going to do Army of Trans-Mississippi. We still need Northern Virginia. If that Army does a training session, we still got time between now and, of course, soon we're going to start doing division reunions. But and Donald and I will be in Virginia, by the way, next week after next, so we'll be pushing that up there. But I would love to be able to go up to wherever that those folks want to meet. It not necessarily in Virginia. It could be, you know, in
Yeah.
One of their
They could do it anywhere. What divisions are in the Army of Northern Virginia? Well, you know, you have
we got
Maryland,
South
Virginia,
Carolina, North Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so any of them could choose to do a workshop.
that's right.
And if you do, let us know. We would. And if you want us to participate, we'd love to participate. I would. I'm not going to volunteer the Kennedys, but I'd love to participate and come out there and support y'all and work with y'all and do one. You know, I can remember back, I think it was the year that I was my first year being commander, Army commander, or I could have been councilman at the time. All three, I think I was Army commander, all three divisions held a workshop that year. And it was actually a competition amongst the workshops for who was going to have the biggest attendees. Army of Trans-Mississippi won, you know, but as far as having the most number of people. But it was great having everybody compete like that and promote each other's, because we would talk about each other's. Well, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all discussing? You know, so Army of Northern Virginia, love to hear from you. So, and one of the purposes is with everything that we're doing as far as changing some websites and getting out there with all of this recruiting and retention, is we have some national promotions that are headed out our way. And
we really do. And we've spent the commander, the lieutenant commander, and myself, as well as other people, have spent a lot of time. Again, Adam and Cindy at the headquarters have spent a lot of time, as well as others, getting the website ready. But the idea is that there's potential reservoir of people out there that believe basically like we do. They don't know us and we don't know them, and it's our job to get out there and try to find them. And this week, my twin brother called me and said, "I'm sending you a picture on your phone. You can't believe this guy. He's on Tucker Carlson, and he's a conservative African-American from California. And Moose, if you've got his the Tucker Carlson, yeah. And guess what? Jason Whitlock was his name, is his name, and he was advocating the idea that, look, the red states, red counties, if we can't get our rights respected, it's time for us to secede. Now, that was what some guy from California said that, an African-American from California. But like Donald said, the amazing thing wasn't that he said it, was the fact that Tucker Carlson said, yeah, something's got to happen. And the point is, and also Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got her picture. Moose, put her picture up. She's prettier than, no, there you go. She got into a lot of hot water, but she said the same thing, that, look, if the blue states keep pushing this stuff down our throats, you know, maybe it's time for a national divorce. But so what I'm saying, and I'm not advocating a national divorce or secession, what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who are very conservative. They're very concerned about the attack on traditional American values, and they're looking for solutions. And solutions that 20 years ago would have been heresy are now starting to be, hey, that's a pretty good idea. We might need to look into that. So the point is that there's a lot of people like us who really want to do something. Now, we in the SCV, we have the solution to the attack on traditional American values. We have the truth. We have the mechanism now of getting that truth out. And that's why we're going national. We're trying to reach these people that don't know us. We don't know them, but we all have similar ideas. These are people, I'm talking millions of people who could be friends of the SCV if they never are able to find an ancestor, or if they're like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who can't join because she's not a male descendant, but she can still be a friend. If there's people like that all over, and that's what we're looking for. I know we've got several things. You want me to talk about the survey that's coming out first?
Oh, yes, sir. And I just want to go ahead and say, while you're talking about all of this, this is everything that I fully endorse. We are heading into areas that this organization has not been in. I don't know that since I've been in the organization, I don't know that we've ever gone to the levels that we're going right now. So we are heading through new territory, and we're working on things. We're trying to get everything into place. This is not going to be 2 weeks and done, 6 months and done. This is something that is going to take a long time to get worked out, but I do endorse it. I do believe it because of my personal experiences when I was dealing with the Texas State House, Tennessee State House last year. Up there, I was up there for 9 days. When we showed up, they were not getting our name right. When we left at the end of it, after 9 days, they were calling us by the correct name. And this year, they're talking about us in the hallways when they see us. So this is about getting it out and getting it done. And I'm supporting it. And, sir, it's all yours. Let's hear it.
Well, the survey that we've commissioned a group to do, and they're in the process. As a matter of fact, I got a note from them today, or not an email, but a text. And he said that they're working on it. They hope to have it finished by the end of April. But what we are asked them to do is to survey every a representative sample of conservatives, that is registered Republicans in every of the 16 southern states. So that will include Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, Missouri, and Oklahoma. So we're going to get all the states surveyed, and we're asking the conservative people in those states, number one, do you agree, or do you think our leaders should do more to protect our American values and our American traditional values and heritage? Do you think, another question is, do you think that the federal government should be using military funds to tear down monuments and rename military bases named after Southern heroes? And do you think our elected officials should do more to protect our Southern heritage? Now, this is very similar to the survey that Donald and I did back July of last year, and we got astounding positive results. So I'm hoping to get very similar results when we get it back. Now, what does that do? We're only asking conservatives, that is Republicans, and don't. Carl Jones, don't have a fit. I know not all Republicans are really conservatives, but nonetheless, that's the closest I can get to them. I want to be able to then send to every one of our elected Republican officials a quick little note that, did you know that 90% of the conservative people in your district want you to protect our Southern heritage? By the way, I am Ron Kennedy. I'm with the NB Forest, camp number 1931, Mandeville, Louisiana. And by the way, here's a little QR code that'll tell you about the SCV, the museum, and Elm Springs. Every conservative elected official in the South has to get this. If we can get this information back to them, it will make a big difference. Now, during World War II, before the troops went ashore on D-Day, what did we do? Did we just roll up there and start unloading troops? No, we bombed the heck out of them, and then the ships stood offshore and pounded and pounded and pounded. Now, when we go to like a school board that I went to here in Mandeville, they'd never heard of me. It's the first time they'd ever heard of me. That's hard to just go straight in like that. We need to do some preparatory work long before then, and that's what this is. Now, how are we going to get that? Ron Kennedy can't send it to the alderman in Athens, Alabama. I'm sorry. I would, if I could, I would. If I was Soros, I would hire the people to do it. So who's going to have to do that? The camps in that area's got to do it. Yeah. So we're going to get the results back in the Confederate Legion and the Commander-in-Chief and the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, we're going to get the information out to the divisions. We're going to try to get it down to the brigade level, get the information down, and then the camps have got to take the responsibility of saying, yep, I will email my state legislators who are Republicans. I'll email or mail my council members, my board of supervisors, my police juryman, my sheriff, anybody who is elected on the Republican ticket should get a copy of this. Now, that's going to take a little effort. Darn it, it's going to take a little effort. And it's not nearly as much fun as putting a flag on my car and driving up and down the highway. It's not nearly as much fun as going out with a bunch of good old boys and cleaning tombstones. Now, I'm not criticizing doing those two things.
No.
I am not. So get off the high horse, those of you who think I am. I'm not. But what I'm saying is that's not going to cut it with the political class. We've got to make sure they understand that the majority of the people who elected them are expecting them to protect our heritage.
Yes.
We can't do it from the national. We can give you the tools. We can spend the money, and it costs money to get these things done. But if the camps don't take advantage of it, then what's the use? If you want to protect that monument that you have at the courthouse, then don't wait until Antifa comes and starts spray painting it. You set the ground rules well ahead of time. You get the information out to your politicians. We expect you to protect this. So when you go to that school board or that city council meeting, they know who you are. And they know that these are people, they got a big organization. They got a big museum, antebellum home. They've got a Southern Cultural Center up there, Heritage Center. We got to pay attention to them. We can't ignore them any longer. So that's the idea of the survey. And again, I cannot stress strong enough, the information is useless unless you use it. Donald and I always said when we write, like The South Was Right or any of our books, it's like ammunition. That's all it is. It doesn't do a lot of, it's ammunition. But if you'll take that ammunition out of your bullet box, put it in your gun and shoot it, then we start winning. So this information, this opinion poll that's being conducted for us, it's ammunition. But it's the camp's responsibility and the members' responsibility to use that ammunition. And I'll guarantee you, if even half of our camps would get this out to all of their elected conservative, Republican, it will change the face of the map as far as the SCV. When we go to the legislature, they'll know who we are.
Yeah.
There won't be any question. And it won't be that we're just some little, minor organization, a group of hotheads that organized at the local pub.
Well, and I'll even go a step past that. Share it. Absolutely. Once you get it, and let's just say at my camp, I get this thing, I get it at my camp. Everybody I know, all of my kinfolk, the guy I know that's down here at the tire shop down from me, the guy that changes oil in my car, all of them ought to get copies of this and have them send it out to them. So don't just get it and sit on it and just do it yourself. Get your wife to do it. I mean, get your parents to do it, get your brothers, your sisters, people in your family, people you work with that feel the same way you do. Because there's people you work with that feel the way you do.
That's right.
And don't be holding this stuff to your chest. These are cards you're going to need to play. So it's time to play the cards.
And it wouldn't be a bad idea to send it out all to your local agents of influence that I know you've sent stuff out to before. But anyway, that's one. The other one that we've got going is a national advertisement. It is already hit, and it goes out to about 500,000 people. And it's with the Epic Times. And most of you, I don't think we got a picture. Well, yeah, this is what it looks like in the Epic Times. This one is one that my brother and his camp paid for to go in their local weekly paper, the paper in Washita Parish, and also the weekly paper in a neighboring parish, Franklin Parish. So you can do that. You could, if you local camp, if you've got a weekly paper or a daily paper that will accept your ad, let me know. We can get you a copy of this ad, and look down at the bottom. It says paid for by McGuire SCV Camp, West Monroe, Louisiana. Well, we'll put you can put your name on there, your camp name, but that's important on the local issues. But also, this ad is also running without the name of the McGuire camp on it, but it's on the national, and that's one of the reasons we work so hard to get the changes with friends and donations on the scv.org to make it easier for people to go to it. And this is going to run for 4 weeks, so 4 different issues. So you're looking at a potential of 2 million people. That's the potential. Now, obviously, 2 million people won't necessarily see it, but that's the potential that's there. And I tell you, I saw it on the you can't ignore it. It's a full quarter page ad, color, and it's not a lot of verbiage, so the pictures draw you right to it. You've got that QR code that gives you that wonderful advertisement. Okay, that's enough for that, because we're running well past our time.
Yes, I know we are, but that is a wonderful article. I mean, a wonderful ad. When we take a break, and I figure it might be getting close to a Pop-Tart break time, I'll try to pop over here and show people a picture of the actual ad in the Epic Times.
Oh, good.
And when you do, it really catches your eye. The house looks great. The museum looks great. The grounds look great. And this is what we got to be doing. We've got to do it. So,
and the QR code works.
Yes, the QR code works. So
that's great. That's great.
Yes.
Moose, do you want to do a Pop-Tart break?
Yes, sir. We can do a Pop-Tart break. And tonight's Pop-Tart break is, of course, sponsored by the Kennedy twins' newest book, Jefferson Davis and the High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Jefferson Davis' High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is about how Jefferson Davis was a leader of the high road to emancipation. He looked for a day in which slaves would be prepared to live and participate in society. He did more, though, than advocate for this high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. Many of his former slaves left for prosperity and their testimony about their former master who prepared them to be a member of society. You can find this book at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores. And, of course, the link is below in the chat and scrolling across the screen. We will be right back after this Pop-Tart break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Were you able to get that picture up?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sending it to Moose now.
All right. Very quickly, I just wanted to also, Commander, to mention the one-click politics that we've got. We want to make sure that, and I think that we'll probably be talking more about that when we have more time, but and we won't have tonight. But this is something that we can use with our divisions as well as on national issues to help contact your state legislators when you got something going on. And I know the folks in Texas have something going on. I don't know if any other division has. And
Tennessee.
I think, Jason, Commander, you sent some stuff to them if they want to use the one click. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm working with some more stuff through them to get some verbiage right. Because when this goes out, it'll come across the Telegraph, and there's a link in the Telegraph, and you click on that link, and then all you have to do is enter your information in it. And what I mean by your information is your name and your address, and it knows who to send it to based off your address, and it tailors it to that and sends it to them, but it is sending it to a politician. So we have to make sure we're legally right in what we say, we're factually correct, right, and we're not misspelling anything. We're using good verbiage. When you read some of these things and it looks like it's been just haphazardly thrown together, how much attention are they going to pay? So we have to get all of the verbiage right and get everything right to them. But that's how all this works out. And so actually getting what they want to be able to say from, I would say to my politician, or from you would say to your politician.
Right.
That's the verbiage we have to get in there. So that's what we're working on now.
Good. All right. What about the naming of the campus? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Did I cut you, truncate you too, or you had?
Oh, no, sir. I'm
right,
good.
well, let's talk about the Southern Heritage Center.
Okay. This has been talked about for a little while, and this is not a name change. This has been floated as a name change. No names are changing. Okay. The National Confederate Museum is still the National Confederate Museum. Historic Elm Springs is still Historic Elm Springs. All we did was take the 80 acres that we have there, and we treated it as a campus, and we have named it the Southern Heritage Center. So this is going to incorporate, and we started thinking about this when we were looking at the timeline in our museum that starts in 1607. That's our Southern heritage, because you can go in there and you can see our Southern heritage leading all the way up. And this, I'm just going to leave it here because I want to encourage you, everybody here, to go inside the museum. You're going to see our Southern heritage. When you go in, starting on your left, you're going to see all of our Southern heritage till you get to the big room. And then you'll start seeing about the war. But until that point, we're telling you all of our Southern heritage. So we're just naming the entire property Southern Heritage Center. Okay, there's no renaming. Southern Heritage Center, National Confederate Museum, Historic Elm Springs. Now, one of the things that come out about this, and I heard right off the bat, and I really tried to run outside of my opinion and not try to give it on here, but I talked about this at the Army of Tennessee workshop. One of the things I heard first off the bat was, you're changing your logo. No, there was been no conversation about changing the Sons of Confederate Veterans logo. What you saw at the end of that video with Forrest Dawes talking, and he scans across, and you see our registered trademark that is up there that's staying. I've been asked, it's one of the things that I got asked right off the bat How do you feel about our logo? I love our logo. Tell you the truth, I love all our logos. I love our SCV 1896 where everything is scripted in. But for some reason, it got out right off the bat that we were going to change our logo. No, we're not changing the logo. I would fight to keep from changing the logo. So don't say I wanted to change the logo. That's never been part of the process. Now, there's probably going to end up being a logo created for the entire Southern Heritage Center, so we can advertise the Southern Heritage Center. But just like we have a logo that is the museum, just like we have a logo that is Elm Springs, we're probably going to have a logo for that. But our registered trademark, I don't want to change.
Right.
And that was one of the things that come out of this first. Not, how's this going to affect us, but why are you changing the logo? No, we're not changing the logo. And the person that talked to me about it was adamant that we were changing the logo. And I'm going, no, this isn't, well, I was told. Who told you? Well, I don't want to tell who told me. I said, well, you need to go back and tell who told you that, no, that's not the case. We have our Southern Heritage Center, and that's what we're going with, and we're using it as an opportunity. We just named the entire campus.
Yeah, Jason. There's a lot of misinformation that sometimes gets put out, and the best way to make sure is before you go off really concerned, contact your division commander, contact your councilman, contact your Army commander, and find out the truth before you get really. I mean, I had a guy at the last convention come to me, and he was absolutely upset with the Kennedy brothers because we're trying to get rid of the 501c3 tax status of the SCV. I said, what? Where in the name of? Matter of fact, in a pamphlet I was giving out actually said that the exact opposite of that. And I said, well, where did you hear that? Well, I can't say. Well, but at least he came directly to me face to face to ask me. I honor him and respect him for that. But,
and anytime they come to me.
But call the commander, call me, call the lieutenant commander, call your division commander first, because he'd probably be in on the know. Your councilman, your Army commander, find out the facts. Okay, what about let's see, we got the naming commission done. I mean the Southern Heritage Center done. Speaking of the naming commission, what's the update on the Arlington?
They have had another meeting since we had our last commander's comments. They had a Zoom meeting to where people had to sign up ahead of time and be able to speak concerning the Reconciliation Monument in Arlington, which is, as I hope everybody knows, the National Sons of Confederate Veterans initiated a lawsuit concerning the removal of the Reconciliation Monument created by Moses Ezekiel. In that meeting that they had, it was extremely pro for keeping it and keeping it there. Nobody spoke against removing it. In fact, one of the questions that was asked was, all of us are speaking for it. Has there been anybody, speaking for keeping it? Has there been anybody speaking for the removal of it? And they said that they had already heard some of those. So I don't know if they had heard it. I don't know if it was written documents or what, but they'd already been notified of them. So other than that, you just had, 20, 25 guys on there talking about, let's keep it. And the gentleman who was running it said something to the effect that this is not going to be a quick process. And you're looking at least 8 months before any of this stuff really comes to any kind of fruition on it. I know that now there's 2 different deals. One is the removal of the Reconciliation Monument. Another one is for the renaming of the bases. And this is just concerning the Reconciliation Monument. The renaming the bases, that's another deal that, and honestly, we haven't We've talked about it, but we haven't done any kind of lawsuit concerning anything like that. We're just strictly dealing with the removal of the Reconciliation Monument. You're just going to get an update. Some of this is right now we're in that 8-month period. There's going to be little stuff that might come along as we're working through this. And as we do, I'll let you know. But I did not speak on this. We had several SCV members that were on there speaking. I did listen to it. And the comments that were made were very good comments. So I'm hoping all of this is taken into consideration.
Terrific. We've got a lot of questions about our Southern Heritage Center as well as the museum. When will the museum be open?
Okay, everybody get your pen and papers ready. I'm going to give y'all some dates. These are some dates from everything coming up. So everybody catch their breath for a second. You got the pen and paper ready. All right, it's going to be open this month on April the 15th. Now, on May the 6th, we're having our pilgrimage and homecoming. Moose, do you have that flyer of the pilgrimage and homecoming? The grounds are going to open at 9 o'clock. They're going to close at 4. At 10 o'clock at the statue of Robert E. Lee. Of course, all of this is, if it is pouring down rain or really bad weather, you're looking at either moving it in the museum or probably moving it into the house, into the center back there. And at 10 o'clock, Dr. Michael Bradley, and I talked with Dr. Bradley today. He's really looking forward to this. He has his latest book out. It's called The Final Words, the farewell addresses of Union and Confederates commanders to their men at the end of the war. He is going to be there. He's going to have his book for sale, and he's going to be talking about his book. I figured that would be very appropriate, and looks like general has been misspelled. It looks like I messed the G up on that. Didn't capitalize it. So he, since we're talking about General Lee, he's going to be talking about him. And as soon as he finishes, we're going to go right into the event. And we're going to have as our keynote speaker, our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Mr. Walter Donnie Kennedy. We have the band Strings of Secession. They're going to be there playing. And then we'll do as we have done at the previous 2 times. We're going to have a wreathland piece, and you can either bring some kind of floral arrangement. You can bring a wreath. You can bring just a single rose. Or if you want to bring something that we're going to be able to plant there on the property, like a live plant or a live tree, you can bring that as well. If the weather's going to be like it could be, which is going to be hot and sunny, make sure you bring you plenty of water or whatever you want to drink that is non-alcohol. And then bring your cooler, bring your lawn chair in the sunshine, and bring you some sunblock. Now, getting back to the days that Elm Springs is going to be open, the Saturdays it's going to be open, June 3rd, first Saturday in June. They want to run that along with Jeff Davis. Now, July 29th, we're having a car show and cruise in, so it's going to be open July 29th. On August the 19th, we're going to be having a night at the museum. We probably won't be opening at 8 o'clock that day. This is going to be opening up at probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Let people go and see the house. And this is going to be one of those deals where you walk through the museum and you'll have people playing characters and trying to bring the museum to life. So we're going to do that on August the 19th. September 9th is going to be open. On October the 7th, that is our GEC meeting. So the grounds will be open there. The house will be open for tours, and the museum will be open. November 11th, that is Veterans Day, and veterans will be admitted free. So we'll be open that day. And the first weekend in December is the home tour, and we'll be open that weekend as well. The home will be available for tours, and the museum will be open for tours. In fact, you can come into Murray County, buy a ticket, and see a whole lot of other places. They always do this Southern Tour of Homes in Murray County on the first weekend in December. Elm Springs has been on it, I think, since the beginning, and we always have a great turnout. So people always ask, when are they going to be open on a Saturday? These are the Saturdays for this year. So make your plans. I'm going to also say this. We've already had several groups contact us about coming on a different day, and, like a Saturday, but not these days that we have here. And if you have a group, yes. Now, if you just want to come by yourself, probably not. But if you are, one of us contact us and they're bringing like 25 people. So, of course, we're going to be open for that. We'll open for you and do that. So if you're going to get a group together and come visit with us, and we'll open the museum for you, and open the museum and open the house. Now, tomorrow, the SCV side will be closed, but Eric Pavetti, David Cost, and myself will be there tomorrow to open up the museum for tours and to open up the home for tours. Now, it's closing for Good Friday is the reason why the SCV side is closed. And tomorrow's Good Friday with Easter being Sunday. So we're closed on Good Friday, the SCV side, but the three of us are going to be there just taking care of everything and having the museum and the home open. So if you're going to be out and about tomorrow, come see us. We'll be open regular hours. So is that good, Mr. Kennedy?
Sounds good. I see we're at 8 o'clock. We got a few more things. I think Moose says we can go over a little time. You want to talk about the Hundley Awards, about the shortage of supplies, and it's making a comeback, as well as all the other awards that's coming up, or the deadline.
Yes. I will. I was contacted today, and I had heard that this was starting to be a problem. It is a supply chain problem with getting the Hundley Awards. Now, there's been some people complaining that, and it has been true over the years, last few years, that it's been very hard to give out the Hundley Award. They don't want you to give it to them in the ceremony based off what it is. Let's just say why. And there's been some of them that have been trying to work with them, and they have found other ways to do it. And it's starting to pick back up. Giving out the Hundley Awards. So I know that there's a shortage. I know that there's a supply chain issue. And I guess what I'm asking is this. If you're sitting on a cache of Hundley Awards, you need to let somebody know, because there could be somebody that's needing to buy some. And I don't know when the supply chain problem is going to be fixed. And for a little while, it didn't matter because we wasn't able to give very many out. But now that that's picking back up and they're able to give them out, if you're sitting on a bunch, be mindful of it and let somebody know. Send me an email. CIC at scv.org and said, I've got 20 Hundleys that I need to sell, and we'll find a place for them. So just keep that in mind. Also, getting ready for National Reunion. Yes, we're already getting started for National Reunion in full planning mode. Lloyd Mock and them and those guys in Arkansas have already done a fantastic job. They've been working on this for 2 or 3 years already. But now we're at the point now, we're not that many months away from us being there. So we have to start getting things ready. The awards to put stuff in, okay? To put people in to receive awards. They start April 15th. Now, you can go to scv.org, go to Forms and Documents, and go to the awards manual. And it is the second page in there that tells you what all of these dates are. General Executive Council starts and gathering their nominations on April 15th. And that is also the deadline for submission of Grave Awards to Graves Chairman. Heritage Defense Medal to the Chief of Heritage Defense, which would be this gentleman that I'm seeing right there. So if you have a Heritage Defense Medal, you have until April 15th to get that to him. That's the deadline. Now, if you need to extend that, you can talk to him and see what he has to say about it.
On that particular thing, I'm going to get a Confederate Legion newsletter out. I thought I was going to get it out this week, but with everything I've had going on personally with my health here, I have been a little under the weather. So I will get it out, and we're going to do a Confederate Legion update a week from tonight. So we will talk about that. And yes, I am going to extend that a little bit because we just have not been able to communicate as well as we should have with our changeover from Make Dixie Great Again website, which is another logo that's going to be changed, by the way. So, and our new Make Dixie, our Confederate Legion website. So yes, we will talk more about that next week.
Yes, sir. So deadline for the submission of graves to the Graves Chairman, Heritage Defense Medal to the Chief of Heritage Operations, and the Reverend J. Williams Jones Christian Service to the Chaplain-in-Chief, who is Gary Carlisle. And you can, April 15th are those due dates. So if you're going to start putting people in for awards, now's the time. Go to the awards manual, take a look at it. Now's the time. I know we're going into detail to cover more of them, and I'm going to talk about some more. But I know we want to recognize people who have done a great job within the organization. And if any of you have come to a national reunion, and if you have come to the awards luncheon, you always hear Randy Burbidge saying, we need more people to be submitted for awards. We know we need more. He says it every year. And that's the reason why we're coming on and talking about it, to give you're going to know this, and you can start putting your ones in. All righty. May the 1st is the deadline for the GEC to start getting nominations in. Deadline for SCV units to submit nominations for the National Reunion Individual Merit Awards. That goes to the division commanders. That's on May the 1st. May the 1st GEC, and May the 1st National Reunion, the Individual Merit Awards. You know, those are going to be due. Those have to go to your division commander. Your division commander has to approve those. Get those in. May 15th is deadline for division commanders, Army commanders, and GEC members to submit National Reunion individual merits. So it's going to come to the division commanders. The division commanders they have 15 days to get it in to the executive director and to the awards chairman. So make sure you see who you're supposed to send these to as well. So you have your individual merit awards. They have to deadline to the division commanders May 1st and May 15th. By May 15th, division commanders have to have them sent to Adam, who is our executive director, and to our awards chairman, which is Randy Burbidge. Okay. That's the process for that. And it's sometimes a problem every year. Because the division commander has to approve the awards. Right. That is the reason why it goes through that process. And also on May the 15th is the deadline to submit stuff to our national IT director for the Samuel Cooper Website Award. You have until May 15th for that as well. And our IT director is Dean Stevens. He does a good job for us, by the way. June 1st is deadline for camps to submit newsletter awards. And that is also submission of the General William D. McCain Distinguished Camp Awards. So starting this month, you start having deadlines. So go to the awards manual. I'm reading it out on here because I don't want anybody to say I didn't know and you didn't have a chance to hear it. I know you didn't want to hear my voice for that long, and I didn't want to talk for that long. But it is important that we do recognize the people who have done great work within our organization. So
it always it's sad to me when I see people get awards, and then I think, well, gosh, Camp so-and-so had this person that did so-and-so, and he should have gotten an award. But, you know, it's hard to remember. I know if you're a camp commander, you got 100 things going on, but sure. I know there's one individual in my camp, and I'm not going to nominate him because it looked like, but I'm going to see if I can get somebody in my camp to nominate him. So because he's done a lot of good work, and I want him to receive an award for it. So it's very important, and our people need to be recognized.
And I agree with that, and that's the reason why we're talking about it. May the 1st, you're going to have these in. So they've got the month of April. So whoever you're going to get to submit this gentleman, they've got the month of April to get it to your division commander, and he has 2 weeks to approve it and get it sent in to where they can get it. But the division commander has to approve them, and it's all of us know people at a camp level. They work themselves. They're at the meetings. If you have a recruitment booth, they're there. All of us know people like that. Put them in for an award, even if they say, "Well, I don't want an award."
Give it to him anyway. He doesn't have to wear it.
No, he
needs to be recognized.
Yes, he does, and I want y'all to do that. It's important. And when I talked to Randy Burbage about this, and he said the same thing, just not enough people put in for him. So we don't take enough time at the local level is what this comes down to. Yeah. It doesn't, on the GEC and working in the armies, then we always remind each other. But that tells me at our local level, we're not putting enough people in. And that comes down to all of us.
Yeah. And when someone gets an award, say at my local camp, at national, he doesn't have to be at national in order to receive their award. The camp commander could bring it back and make a big deal out of giving it to it at the next camp meeting. I mean, this is just so important. The camaraderie and part of our brotherhood. This is an important thing, and we want to recognize the folks. My twin brother asked me to remind Jason, the Commander-in-Chief, about my twin brother's idea about saving some money with a Confederate veteran by seeing if we can get maybe a couple of thousand people who want to be a part of, he called it the electronic Confederate. I said, it sounds more like a digital Confederate. But if you would like to receive your Confederate veteran, now this is his talking now, so I'm repeating what he said. And it's an idea he's floating out, so don't think this. But if you say we had a couple thousand people says, yes, I have a stack of Confederate veterans, I'm pointing at them right now. Why not just get it electrically, digitally, and then we can save the postage, the printing, and how much do you think that would save us, Commander?
About $26 a person.
So, if we had 1,000, 2,000 people, we're talking about some substantial savings. You still have the digital, and you can go read it. I mean, it's online. It'll be sent to you. You can read it. It's online. And if there's a special issue you want, I'm sure there's extras. We can send you a copy if there's one that's got your picture in it, for instance, or something of that nature. But anyway, that's the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief's idea, and I don't know if I'm stepping on any toes, Commander, by mentioning it, but you'll have to fuss at him and not me.
No, not at all. Him and I've talked about it. It's been talked about for a little while. I believe it was even talked about when Larry McClooney was Commander-in-Chief in a DEC meeting. It was brought up because of the cost involved of the Confederate veteran to get a printed copy. And we know there's people that are going to want a printed copy. I get that. There's just some people they're just wanting to. It's going to go in the reading room. It's going to be part of their collection, whatever you want to call it. But there's some people that would be happy to get it electronically. First of all, you're going to get it. You don't have to worry about it. It's showing up. You're going to get it early. And the money that you're saving could go to many of these other projects.
That's right.
I read most of my stuff online anyway. I mean, I do. I'm one of those nerd guys that does stuff like that. I do have books that I have read over Kindle, but those are the books that I don't really care if I keep or not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If it's something that I want to keep up with, you've probably seen some of the books that's in the background back here behind me. well, that's copies of the ORs and stuff like that. I want copies of those. But as far as magazines, books, okay, yeah, some of those I want. I bought the Kennedy's books, and I want them in hardback. Now, as far as any kind of magazine, no. I just as soon get it digital. It'll come in an email. I can download it, and I can look back. It is easily searchable. It comes in a PDF. It's going to be easily searchable. So if you think, well, what did I find this in? Where you can just kind of click through a whole bunch of them till you find it, instead of having to walk around the house and try to find my back copies of Confederate veterans. Because
and they're not indexed, say. Whereas if you get it in PDF, you can do a word search.
Yes.
So it's really great. I think it's a good idea.
Yes.
I'm ashamed I didn't think of it myself, but anyway, and we'll talk about it.
It's been talked about, and I've been sitting here and I've got my chat pulled up here. And somebody said something on here that we might have to charge extra for printed versions. I don't know that I'm going to go that route, that we would charge extra. I would really hate to do that. Yeah. What I would prefer to do is give a little bit of a discount to somebody who would sign up. Now, bear with me on this. This is spitballing a big idea, and I'm doing it live without talking to anybody ahead of time. It'll give somebody a discount for a 5-year membership if they're willing to take the veteran digitally. Instead of being $35 a year, what if you made it $25 a year? Yeah. They could be for $120. Do it for 4 years. That way it'd be $100. For $100, you could be a member, and just because I'm kind of thinking that maybe we need to do some of this stuff where people can sign up, just like what we did with our proration this time. Yeah. With our proration, if you're 2 or more years back, you can prorate coming back in, which we've never been able to do that. Once a member, there is no proration. But if you've been out of the organization for at least 2 years, we allowed you to prorate to come back in, and we've had success with it. So what if we were to offer multi-year discounts to where they sign up for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and we cut them a deal? And then what if we cut them an even bigger deal, because everybody who joins now, we get their email address, and we just say you're going to get a digital copy. And instead of it being $35, it's $20, $25, $30. These are all the things that we're trying to come up with to make our organization kind of streamline it and bring it up to date a little bit more. It's not to kick anybody out or anybody who wants a paper copy. I still print paper copies on my camp level for the people who in the camp that want a copy of the newsletter. And I get that. They want a copy of it. But there's going to be some people like me. I don't have paper copies, and it's we're just sitting around talking about these things because we know at some point in time, the way things are progressing, it is just going to change. At some point in time, it could get so expensive to print a Confederate veteran that we have to go up on it just because it costs so much to print one. So what if we get out from behind that, compare it to what it used to cost to print?
Yeah.
Frank
Powell has told us just about every time we meet that the cost of printing keeps going up. And it's like inflation, it's even if and it's a supply chain issue as well. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on. But anyway, Donald wanted me to mention that as a, just to let people start thinking about it out there and say, I mean, if we could get 2,000 or 3,000 even to say, yes, I'll take mine digitally, that could save us a lot of money. That money could be better used doing other things like buying these national ads. And by the way, the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief wanted to let everyone know that this epic ads, we've got also the ads going in the Roku TV. We've got national ads going in there. And we're looking at 2 other journals, conservative journals, not as big a circulation as Epic Times, but we're looking at 2 other journals to put this ad in. And this is like Commander Boshers said, this is not a one-time thing. You just don't do it one time. I try to remind people that, Coca-Cola, before it got woke, back when it was a Southern company, it didn't become the dominant player by putting one roadside billboard up and then leaving and not ever doing it again. It's a constant. And you do billboards, you do radio ads, you do TV ads, all manner of things that they did to make themselves known in their particular niche audience that they were going after, and they were very successful. We got to do the same thing. We got to keep our name out in the public, and I'm looking next year to hopefully we can get on like Newsmax or some large Breitbart. I love to put this ad on Breitbart where people can click on it and read it. There's just a lot of things that we can do to go national. But again, all these things are to help us to get friends, to get members, but mainly to become known. So the conservative politicians will not stab us in the back. And we all know that they've stabbed us in the back, sometimes intentionally and sometimes just not knowing because they didn't know us. And whose fault is that? That's not their fault. It's our fault, and that's what we've got to do. Well, Commander, we have now gone 20 minutes over time. I think we, as Mama used to say, don't wear out your welcome, boy.
Okay.
So we don't want to wear out our welcome. You got any last words you would like to import to the audience?
I'd just like to take a minute and piggyback off what you said. When we're dealing, because I've been going to the Tennessee State House and past couple of years, I would like to see 1 or 2 kind of reactions. Them smile when we come in, or them roll their eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just not, well, who are them? And then go on about who are they? Who's those? We don't know them, and they don't pay any attention to us. I would like to, when we're going up and down the hall, for people to kind of see us and grin, or hey guys, I'm glad you're here, or like I said, just roll their eyes. Sometimes you're judged by who your enemies are as well as who your friends are. And to know that some of the people and what they've done up in the Capitol roll their eyes when we come down the hall this past Monday, I consider it applause. I mean, it's just, I didn't get mad about it. I considered it applause, but that's the reactions that you want. You don't want them to know who you are. You want them to know who you are. When they walk in the room, you want them to know who you are. And instead of going, well, we don't have to worry about them, which has been the approach. We don't have to worry about them. We don't know who they are. We don't have to worry about them. Either smile because we're there or roll their eyes. I'm acceptable with either one of those. I really prefer the first one, but the second one don't hurt my feelings.
That's right.
I would like to talk for a minute about 2 things. I'm going to make them real quick. I want to talk about the national reunion coming up in Little Rock. If you haven't made reservations, start making your reservations. Start making your way there. Start preparing for it. It's going to be July 19th through 22nd. Make sure that if you want to be there, be there. I'm going to finish it with this. I'm going to finish it with get to 2 other things that I saw scrolling across in the messaging. If you're not on the Telegraph, send a email to membership@scv.org and tell them you want to sign up for the Telegraph, and they'll sign you up for the Telegraph. We were talking about the workshops. For the one next year, the 2024 AOT workshop is going to be in Columbia, Tennessee. There's going to be details coming on about that. Right now, we're also working on the Stephen D. Lee to be held in the Columbia, Middle Tennessee area, and we're looking at getting a good date in February for that. So we're going to give you plenty of opportunities to come visit the museum. If you want to come to the Stephen D. Lee or come to the AOT workshop, you're just going to be right there. Now I want to finish up with this. the importance of brigade commanders. Now, when you get down to the camp level, it's the adjutant. It's the adjutant on the camp level. Just what you've heard us talk about it, you know what it is. Now, as far as the chain of information, brigade commanders, brigade commanders, brigade commanders. Because when stuff comes down from national or stuff comes up from the division level and things start coming down, we need brigade commanders. We need brigade commanders that are in contact with their camp commanders and multiple members within each of the camps. There's some of you out there that y'all have 5, 6, 7 camps, maybe even 8 camps that you're over as a brigade commander. Know every one of them. No, at least 2 or 3 people in each camp. So when things happen, you can get the communication down to them. It's going to be extremely critical with what we're doing as far as the national level and pushing information down. And you notice we said pushing information down because we're not going to just let it drop. We're not just going to let it trickle, because if something happens with Arlington, I need the information to get to everybody out there as quick as possible. And that's the reason why that the brigade commanders, they're an extremely important piece in all of this. Because if it comes from the GEC, your Army commander already has it, and all he has to do is send it to the division commander. If the division commander will just take and send it out to his brigade commanders, most of the time, best that I can tell, majority of that happens. The division commanders have been very, very good at getting stuff pushed out. Where camps aren't getting it, and the reason why camps aren't getting it is brigade commanders aren't doing, not all of them, some of them are, but there's brigade commanders out there that haven't pushed out anything. Because I go when I visit your camps, and you're at the camp and you're telling them stuff, and it's stuff that's already happened, and they didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the brigade commander didn't push it down enough. Brigade commanders, you are extremely critical. I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound tough. Either do the job or step down and let somebody else step up and do the job. Because this isn't a tough job, but it's one that needs to be done. Either step up and do it, or step aside and let somebody else who will. And this is whole thing, well, we can't find anybody. Then you start developing people. Maybe you haven't recruited that member yet. And maybe you need to go recruit that member that's going to end up being the brigade commander that you need. I know that's going to sound like tough, and you hate to tell somebody to step down, but if you're not going to do the job, then we need somebody that's going to do the job. Because I have gone over the last 6 years, 7 years and visited camps. They did not get anything, and they had no idea what was happening with National other than what they read in the Confederate Veteran magazine. There were some people out there that didn't even know this existed. Commanders' Comments, SCV Chat, Make Dixie Great Again. They never got pushed down to any of them. Well, I don't know what to do other than to say the brigade commander. And I'd ask them, when did your brigade commander, what did he tell you? One camp I went to didn't even know who their brigade commander was. I had to tell them. The brigade commander hadn't visited it. Visit, make sure you know people in the camp, and please push the information down. Because all of the success we're going to have is going to be from the ground up. We're going to have people in all of these areas, all over the South, all over this nation, fighting. And that's going to be getting the information down to them. That's going to be them contacting their politicians. It's going to be them talking to their Chamber of Commerce. It's going to be them, doing all of this stuff in the communities. And that's the reason why we need to get the information down to them. Brigade commanders, please do your job. And Carl's right. And I saw something pop up. We're at war. We need our leaders to lead. And then, Carl, we rely on brigade commanders to assist, advise, and train our counts. Yes, brigade commanders are critical. When they come somewhere, I don't want them to hear the information from me of something that's already happened. I would prefer, that they want to report on all the details, not really, you've done that? Y'all are doing this? Yes, and visited one recently. They knew about the statues coming down in Arlington, and they knew that, but they hadn't read the latest Confederate veteran to know that we'd actually entered into the lawsuit. And, that's one of the things that a brigade commander should have pushed down right off the bat. So just saying.
And I want to emphasize what the commander said, because when this information from this poll comes out, we're going to depend on the division commander and the brigade commanders to get this information pushed down to the camp commanders, and then the camp commanders, you got to get the information out to your local elected Republicans, so they'll know that your voting population expect you to side with Southern heritage, with traditional American values, and we're looking at you.
Yes.
Thank you, Commander. Anything else you got?
I see that when we were talking about this earlier, we were wondering if we were going to have enough information to last for an hour, and we've run 30 minutes over.
Well, the problem is you got a Kennedy on one side, and even with a bad voice, he can't shut up.
Well, I kind of, as you told me earlier, you said your voice was bothering you a little bit, and you said that you wasn't worried about me taking over and talking. So I must be do a little bit of it myself, even when I don't need to. So
okay, now I will ask Moose to post the place where people can go to YouTube and view it, who were not able to listen to us live. And I think the commander's going to try to get that link out on Telegraph.
Yes.
So everybody can get a chance to look at this, because we've had some very important information. Anything else, Commander, before we sign off?
And I even agree with Jimmy Hill that they should have a communications officer. And I'm agreeing. Folks, if the information gets out there and it comes out from 5 different sources and it's the same information, hallelujah, they got it 5 times. Let's as long as they have the information in their hands and they do something with it. Absolutely. And we're working on our end. It's every day we're doing stuff on our end. So
and as always, the camp is essential to the success of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Well, thank you very much, Commander-in-Chief Boshers, for spending an hour and 33 minutes with us tonight. Some great information. We've got some great opportunities. Things are looking up for us. We're going to win this struggle. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 or 3 generations to do it. We shall win. Moose, with that, you can shut us down. Folks, thank you all for tuning in.
Thank y'all. Be Southern.